Hello, háide Jimmer a teisih chuna sa támuid Tá súlagam go bhfuil muid go mbeidh agus go bhfuil muid go hiontach. Tá an aimsir go donna tá sé a chur báistí tá sé ag stalú báistí an seo a lech garman folks. How are we? Are we well? Weather's awful here in Wexford. Hope it's a little bit better wherever ye are. Welcome to our grind for junior cycle, and again live, fully interactive. So any questions, any problems, you can pop that into the chat function and we can have a look at this. Now, what we're going to do for tonight's class, three things. We're all about improving your quality of Irish. And that goes to show for the past 2 weeks, we looked at something called the Mochanílach, which is called the conditional mood in Irish. And it's like, I would do something and you would do something and he would or she would do something. And we found out it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. I just think they just need to come to the class and I can show them. But it has such a bad reputation. It has an awful reputation. Sixth years hate it. Teachers hate it as well. But we found out it's actually not bad at all. It's actually very structured, super logical and really consistent. And it's so consistent and it's so logical and it's so structured, we can actually even take shortcuts to go through the conditional mood in Irish. So hopefully, and I think for the past 2 weeks you were telling me, that's not as bad as people are making it out to be. And some of you even said last week, I don't see what all the fuss is about. Neither do I. A lot of emotion for adding on a little ending onto a verb. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit better about the Mochanílach. So we're going to open up tonight's class with a little revision, a game, on the Mochanílach. So get your notes. We're going to look at the two sounding verbs because that's what we did last Tuesday. We looked at the two sounding verbs. We looked at the two sounding verbs that were broad and we looked at the two sounding verbs that were slender. But you secretly know that they're kind of actually just identical endings. They're very, very, very similar. We just have to match the vowels in the verb. So you kind of know that trick. Oh, and by the way, if someone says to you, oh my God, the Mochanílach's so hard, the Mochanílach's this, I can't do the Mochanílach, just be like, yeah, it's really, really hard. But we know it's grand. So we're going to practice the Mochanílach. 2 games. But I want you to use your notes. Grab your notes. Get your notes from last week, right? Now, while you're getting your notes from last week, because it's not a test, we're just reinforcing the vocab, right? While you're getting your notes from last week, the two sounding verbs, because we're going to match the endings now. What we're going to do in tonight's class is we're going to look at the copula in Irish. The word is. Very simple. Now I'm going to give you a spoiler. We're going to do this thing called a copula in Irish. Kind of sounds like couple for horse, but it's not. Copula. There's no grammar. Straight up, there I said it. There is absolutely no grammar that we need to worry about. So the big part of tonight's class is grammar free. No H's, no I's, no R's, no dentals, no nothing. It's completely grammar free. Wait until you see it. Can't wait to show you. It's called the copula. It's got absolutely no grammar needed whatsoever. If you have your books, you can go for page 164. So if you have your book 164, now if you left your book in your locker, or maybe you're in school and you left your book at home, that's fine. The notes are linked into this at the top. If you go to the Dropbox link, click that, you can download the notes to whatever device you're using as well. So I've always got you covered. And then the second thing is, I want to have a look at prepositions. So between kind of your mocks and Easter, I know you've done an awful lot of learning and an awful lot of revising and poems and stories and essays. What I want to do is take 6 weeks. Let's work on your quality of Irish. Let's understand the language. Let's have a look at what Irish is and how to Irish. And that's what we did. We looked at the Mochanílach. You nailed it. So, Michaela, how are you getting on? How's things? You weren't here last week. The notes, I will drop them into you now, actually, and halfway through the class, I'll actually get you the notes. I'll put it up actually at the end because I don't want to confuse anyone with last week's notes, but I'll drop them into the chat function for you. That's no bother at all. Michaela, will you remind me at the end of class, and I'll get you the notes from last week. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to lock in the endings now for this. So let's have a quick look. I made you a game, and the game is here. So we're going to go for our Mochanílach, no bother, anytime at all. We're going to go here for our conditional mood in Irish. Use your notes from last week. This is not a test. We've got ceannaig. Ceannaig is a two sounding verb. I want to say, I would buy, you would buy, he would buy, she would buy. Ceannaig is my verb. So all I need to do is match my endings. Okay? Now, I've got my English. we would buy, he would buy, I would buy, they would buy, you would buy, she would buy, and you plural would buy. Remember last week when we played the game? I won't say anything. I'll let you do it. I'm going to put this on the clock for about 40 seconds, but match the Irish to the English. Use your notes. This isn't a test. So your 40 seconds for matching your Mo Cnílach conditional Irish to the conditional in English starts now. Straight away, you could match she and she. You could match these in. She boy, this is actually, I'll write you there in the chat function. Okay, so we know she means he and she means she. So we can get them done first, can't we? So all I have to do is just match up the person. So I'm going to go for this one here. She. Now I'll go through the pronunciations. We also know that the word she matches up, so I can match that down here. So straight away, that's two that we can use. We also got the word shiv. Shiv, this one up here, S-I-B-H, shiv means you plural. And we said last week that it has got the V sound, hasn't it? Shiv with the V, which is very like French. Because what's you plural in French? It's vous with a V. What's you plural in Spanish? Isn't it vosotros with a V? So we have that in Irish as well, shiv with the V. Now we need to kind of match in the rest. Question. From last week, we know that Irish is super logical, super patterned. What is the word that we use for we in Irish that begins with the letter M? Into the chat function for me, but have a think back, because we can use logic and structure. If you're very mathematically inclined, you can fly Irish grammar. What was the letter, or what was the word that we use for we in Irish, beginning with the letter M? Pop it into the chat function and see what we get, because this will help us lock in our verbs. This will help us lock in our Mo Cnílach. Excellent. 100%. Lads, will you come to my 6 years? I swear to God. Phoebe, Ritika, Ben, Michaela, Kate B and Susa. It's muid, isn't it? M-U-I-D means we, and that's what we have over in our ending up here. So C-D-O-I-M-I-S, that M at the end refers to muid. So mish, that M means we. Now, second question, right? Penny, deadly, 100%, spot on, that's it. Question number 2. We know Irish is super structured, so logical, beautiful, it's magical. What's the word for day in Irish? Begins with the letter S. So I've got May, tu, she. We have that word muid, M-U-I-D, beautiful. We know that shiv is the word for ye, or you is, depending on where you live in Dublin. What's the word for day? Also begins with the letter S in Irish, because we can use that to help us decide which one is which. Brilliant. Phoebe, Kiva, Kate B, Michaela, Arish, Cheapo, excellent, deadly, 100%, Ritika, Kalharda, Alex and Penny. Folks, we are on fire. Finn, Evan, lads, we're Irishing. Susa, how are you getting on? So we know that the word siad means they, S-I-A-D. We can use that to help us with our Mochanílach. So I have cheanóidís for they would buy. So the letter D refers to they. Now we're left with two. I'll admit, and Julia, Alex, brilliant, well done, 100%, spot on folks. We're left with two. But so far, I think everybody in the country knows me and you. We know the first two, and then it gets a little bit wobbly towards the he, she, we, they, new plural and all them, but they were the ones we locked in first. They were the ones that were the easiest ones to do. So let's go back. We're left with cheanóha and we're left with cheanóing. So we do need to know these, right? So the cheanóing is I would buy, and then the cheanóha is you would buy. Think about this. You would buy. 3 words in English. Just one for us in Irish. Why? Because we're better. Now, let's go through the pronunciations with this. We know that the pronunciations would be, Michaela, 100% yes, spot on, that's it. We know that the pronunciation is a little bit off. So, if you want to say we would buy, it's, now the M is for mwij, for we. Cheanóimish. Cheanóimish. So we get that O imish sound in it, and we covered the pronunciation on it last week. He would buy. Now this is going to get a cheanóach sé. He would buy. But that is the exact same pronunciation that we are going to say for she would buy. So if you look at the top one, he would buy, cheanóach sé. It's the same one down here for she would buy, cheanóach she. So we get an óach sound, but we're not done yet. You plural, ye would buy. That's the same ending. So we pronounce it the exact same. Cheanóach shiv. So the pronunciation for she, and shiv, identical. Cheanóach sé, cheanóach she, cheanóach shiv. Now I would buy gets an owing sound. Owing, cheanóing. I would buy, cheanóing. So it gets an O, but that goes for an ing sound, cheanóing. We then know for they would buy that the letter D in that stands for they. You told me a couple of seconds ago, Michal, siad means they, S-I-A-D. And that's the letter that we have in this, cheanóidís. So we're going to go for an O idís, cheanóidís. You would buy. Now, we're not going to pronounce the F here. Cheanóha. Cheanóha. So we're going to get an O-ha sound. Cheanóha. You would buy. And then she would buy, cheanóach she, and cheanóach shiv for you plural would buy. I do realise that the spelling and the sounds don't kind of match up a little bit. That's fair. Right, but we went through the sounds and the pronunciations of it last week, so do me a favour, if you missed kind of last week, you might want to just go to the part where I explain the sounds and the pronunciation, because it can be quite structured in this one as well. But if you're able to match up on paper, he would buy with all these, and she would buy, and I would buy, and you, and if you get that, we're winning. Perfect. We're going to do another game. They were the two sounding verbs that are broad, like ceannig. So let's go and have a look at the two sounding verbs. But this time, we're going to go for slender. Use your notes. This is not a test. It's what we did last week. So we have that word balig, B-A-I-L-I-G-H. Balig means collect, or gather, or pick up. So we're going to go for balig. Now before I do, great question. So Tom has a question. Michal, why does I would buy not have the may at the end? Tom, what a super question. And we're going to see this now in a couple of seconds again, Tom, right? The fact is, we don't need it. Because, Tom, what you did is you added in the word ófada, I-N-N, owing, cheanóing. And that owing refers to me. So when I hear cheanóing in Irish, I know Tom is talking about I would buy. So we don't need to put in the word may, because Tom, if you did, and you said cheanóing may, it means I me would buy, or I would buy, or I would buy me. So it wouldn't really kind of make any sense. So that's why we don't need to use the may. And Tom, well spotted, we actually don't need to use the to either, because it's got the oh-ha sound at the end of it. But we do need it for she. And we do need it for she. And we do need it for shiv because the endings for those are identical. So we need to decide if I've got ceannoach and ceannoach and ceannoach, then Tom will add in she, she, or shiv because we'll need to know the information. But the rest, the ending tells me who's doing it. Ceannoing, I would buy. Ceannocha, you would buy. So you're going to see this now, Tom, in a second, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to lock in the she, she, and shiv because they're the easiest ones to match up. They have the exact same endings. They're the same pronunciations. And then you're going to do the exact same thing for me. Muid begins with the letter M. And muid means we. And you're going to see that letter M in your verb. So then you know that's the we particle. You know that the word siad is the word for day, S-I-A-D. So that letter D then is in the ending in it to let you know who's doing the action. So I'm going to go for another question here, Jack. Can you use the Mo Cníleach in the past and the future tenses? I would have gone. Jack, now that's a super question. You can use the Mo Cníleach in the past tense 100%. And because the past tense and the Mo Cníleach can be quite similar. So I would say, let's say in Irish, I went to the shops and I bought sweets and I bought a can of Monster and if I was to go tell a story, Jack, I could say I would go to the shops and I would buy a couple of sweets and I would buy a can of Monster. So you could use your Mo Cníleach in that case with the past tense as well. So your past tense, as you said, and the Mo Cníleach kind of can overlap. You can, as if you're going to tell a story, you could switch into the Mo Cníleach if you didn't want to use your past tense in it, but not the future tense. It wouldn't really kind of work too well with the future, but you're 100% spot on with the past tense. I went to the shops. I would go to the shops at 9 o'clock every morning and I would buy something. So it works in really, really well, this. Right, super question though. Let's go for this one. Use your verbs. Use your notes. This isn't the test. I'm going to put you on the clock for 40 seconds. And your time starts now. Any questions? Throw them in the chat function. You're doing great, by the way. Now, it can mean collect, can mean gather, can mean pick up. She would collect, he would collect, they would collect, we would collect, I would collect, you would collect, you plural would collect. 3 words in English. Awful crack. Just one for us in Irish. A couple more seconds. Okay. How are we? You can say whether you're done if you want in the comments, whether we've locked them in. You can always say me, hold a couple more seconds, please. Excellent. Deadly. Now don't worry if you're not finished. It's only a little bit of a warm-up, that's all it is. And again, using your notes, hopefully. So we're talking about the Mo Cníleach. I would. Perfect. We've got different endings, as Tom has pointed out. We don't need to use them for may or to because they're in the ending. We've attached that to the verb, so we know who's doing the action. So we don't really need to put in the rest of them. But there are 3 that we do need. He, she, and you, plural. She, she, and shiv. They're the ones I'm going to go for first because they're all identical. And I can just match she to he, she to she, and you, plural, to them. So I can go for this one. Valoach she. Valoach she. So it gets that CK sound at the end. Valoach she. So he would collect. Perfect. Which is the exact same pronunciation and the exact same spelling for valoach she. For she would collect. Oh, sorry. So I can go for valoach she. She would collect. And it's also the exact same pronunciation and the exact same spelling for you, plural, would collect. Valoach shiv with that V. No. It's very... Technology is not teching tonight for me, folks. So valoach shiv, you, plural, would collect. Now, I'm left with 4, aren't I? But Irish, super logical, super structured. It just makes beautiful sense. Like French and Spanish and German could never have this. So we know the word for we in Irish means mwich, all right? That's what we have here, that letter M. So I'm going to use that letter M to link it up with we would collect. Valo emish. So o emish. O emish. Valo emish. We would collect. Because the M means we. And Irish, logical, structured, patterned, we love it. You know that the word for day is siad, S-I-A-D. So that letter D up in valo adish is what we're going to use for day would collect. So I take my valo adish, and then that letter D in it signifies the word for day. So, if you're really sneaky in Irish, they would collect, look at the ending. And we would collect, look at the ending. They're almost identical. M, and swap it out for the letter D, and put a fada on it, then you have they would collect. So, lots of logic and structure. So we're left with 2. And as Tom said, we don't really have a main, we don't need the 2 in this, but we do kind of need to know these. But these are the ones that kind of everybody knows, really, because I was talking to 6 years, and they knew the word for I would do something and you would do something. And then after that, they had not a clue between he, she, we, they, and you, plural. But they're the easy ones. So I'm going to lock in the O-I-N-N, the word for I. So valoing. So I want to hear that O-ing sound. O-wing. Valoing. So I would collect. I would gather. I would pick up. Valoing. We're left with one more. You would collect. Don't pronounce the F. I know it's a little bit weird, but we don't pronounce the F. O-ha. O-ha. Valoha. So valoha, you would collect. And that is your Mochaneloch in Irish. And as you said last week, not bad. And it's just not really taught the best. That's the only. I don't think the books kind of explain the patterns and the structures and how our language really kind of like works. Because if you like maths and science and you like equations like business and you like stuff that just 2 and 2 is always going to be 4 and 4 and 4 is always going to be 8. Irish is like this. Irish grammar is super, super structured. That once you know your rules, put it into place. We hate exceptions. But you kind of know that. We really dislike exceptions in Irish because we only have 11 irregular verbs. That is how much we despise irregularities and exceptions. We only have 11 irregular verbs, which is great. So you've done what is considered to be the most hardest grammar point in Irish, and it is. That is it. There is nothing else after the Mochaneloch that's going to cause you an ounce of stress. So, speaking of no stress in Irish, and we want to improve your quality of Irish, we want to Irish, we're going to do this thing called a copula now. And straight up, there's no grammar. None. No grammar whatsoever. No H's, no I's, no R's, no dentals. Absolutely nothing. So, grab a pen and paper. If you have the books, we're going to go for page 164. If you forgot your book, it's in your locker, or you're in school and your book's at home, it's grand. I made you a little copy of PDF. So if you want to pop it up to the chat function, click the link and you can download the link and then you can kind of annotate the material. I've got a question coming in from Phoebe, so I'm just going to go for this. Michal, for the past tense, can you only use the Mochaneloch for telling a story of what you did, like you said, or can you say I would have done? Now, I would have done is a different kind of tense, because what we're going to have to say, I would have done. We're going to use the Mo Cníleach, but we'll use the word if. So if something happened, I would do something. That's the way we would put it in Irish. So it is, Phoebe, as you said, the Mo Cníleach, right? I would have done something if. For example, I would have gone to Spain if I had the money. I would have gone to France if I had a plane. I would have gone to Germany if I had a car. In Irish, what we would say is I would go to Germany if I had a car. I would go to Germany if I had money. I would go to Germany if I had, and we use the Mo Cníleach for both of those. So in English, and as Jack said as well, Phoebe, you kind of have this kind of complicated tense in English. I would have done something. We don't have that in Irish. We just use the Mo Cníleach. So we use the Mo Cníleach for that tense, which makes it kind of simple. So we have past tense, present tense, future tense, and a Mo Cníleach tense. And if we want to say I would have done something, then it means I would have done something if I had something. We use the Mo Cníleach for that. So we only need to worry about really 4 tenses in Irish, which is very good, but well spotted. Any questions, keep them coming in. Right, let's have a look at this absolute beaut. Now, we know anything that's nice in grammar, we put a little love heart on it. You will see there will be lots of love hearts for this grammar point tonight. Protect this grammar point with your lives. It's a copula. Now, what it's called in Irish is an chopel, right? That's what it's called in Irish. The one thing, Phoebe, I'll just see if I can get that link for you. Now, will you try that link, folks, just in case it's not working? It's working on my end now, so it should be, yeah, it's at the working there twice. Have a go at that and see if you can get that. So this thing is called an couple. So we know in Irish that there are verbs, and a verb expresses an action. So just have a look at your screen for 1 second, right? I have this thing called a verb, and a verb is an action. For example, walks, walked, or would walk. First of all, it's an action, which is great. So I can put it into the past tense, the present tense, the future tense, and you have loads of these. V and Llánaigh, past tense, present tense, future tense. Perfect. And all I have to do is add on a person. For example, Llánaigh mé. I bought. Llánaigh 2 for you bought. So these are all verbs. In Irish, we have this thing called a copula. A copula we use in certain times. When we want to give a nationality. Now just have a look at your screen for 1 second, right? So if I want to talk about a nationality, I am an Irish person, or I am an American person, or I am a German person, or I am a Spanish person. I'm going to use the word is, and I'm going to pop in my nationality, is Éireannach mé. This is called the copula. So I have a question for you. How many of you have seen the word is in your sentences? You can just tell me the chat function, yes or no, or not sure. That's what the copula is. Is Éireannach mé. So when I want to give a nationality, I want to say is Éireannach mé, is Gearmánach mé, is Francach mé, is Rússeach mé, is Sínach mé, is Seapánach mé, is Austrálach mé. If I want to say I am Australian, I am Russian, I am Chinese, I am Japanese, I am Ukrainian, I am French, I'm Spanish, I'm American, I'm Canadian. Because I want to express a nationality, I am not going to use a verb, because a verb is all about action. Walks, walked, would walk, was walking, would have walked if. It's all actions. But what if I just want to be? What if I just want to exist? I am an English person. So loads of you have seen the word is. That's your copula. And again, no grammar. So first things first, I use my copula when I want to say I'm a nationality. Also, if I want to give an occupation, For example, I am a teacher. Is múinteoir mé. So verbs are actions. Copulas, I just want to exist. So I use this thing called copula, and it's just the word is in Irish, which is lovely. And again, it's got no grammar, so wait until you see this. So is múinteoir mé, I am a teacher. So when I want to give nationalities and when I want to kind of give occupations, we use this thing called is. It's more just like an existence, a state of being. If I want to kind of give qualities, or if I want to kind of say, if I kind of want to give like cáilíocht, a kind of a quality of something. For example, I am a man. I would say is fear mé. But again, because I just want to give like a quality of something, kind of a characteristic, I think might be a better term to use than a quality. If I want to give a characteristic about myself in Irish, I'm going to use my copula. Now I'm fighting for my life trying to spell characteristic in English. Don't correct my English. You're here for the Irish. Don't tell Paul I got it wrong here. So a characteristic is fear mé. That's my characteristic. So when I want to talk about like a nationality, an occupation, I want to talk about like a characteristic, I'm going to use this copula. But as you said, you already know lots of copulas already. For example, if you wanted to say I like, is maith liom. You've got that, don't you? I want to say I hate, is fua liom. If I wanted to say is even liom, is bra liom, I love, I like, you have been using the copula all the time. Even if I want to say I am, I say is misha miho. So we have been using this thing called the copula all the way through. The trick with the copula is knowing when to use it, but you now know how to use it. Verbs will express an action. Walk, talk, sleep, eat, drink, swim, write. They're all actions. But what if you just want to talk about somebody's existence, somebody's being, just somebody's being there? Use this thing called a copula. Is éireannach mé. It's not an action, is it? It's just a state. Is éireannach mé. I'm an Irish person. Is múinteoir mé. I'm a teacher. It's a state. It's a very sad state, but it's a state nonetheless. And if I want to give a characteristic about myself, like I am a man, or I am a teenager, or I am a boy, or I am a girl, or I am a soccer player, or I am a rugby player, if you want to give me some sort of characteristic about yourself, we'll use this thing called the copula. So here's the trick. We will also use the copula if you want to say I am a something, or you are a something, or he, she is a, or we are a, you plural are a, or they are a. So every time in English, when you want to say I am a, he is a, she is a, we are a, you are a, or they are a, or even it is a, we're going to use this thing called the copula. And it is just the word is. And because it's really important, we're going to put it at the start of the sentence, because Irish is like a verb first language. Don't we always put the verbs first? We say vi may, dol may, di may, cheannig may. We put the verb and the copula at the very, very start. Is éireannach mé. Is múinteoir mé. Is fear mé. So when you want to say it is a, we're going to use is. When you want to say they are a, we are going to use is. We are always going to start off with is. Then what we are going to do is we want the next piece of important information, which is we want the nationality or the occupation or the characteristic. So if I wanted to say I am a teacher, I'm going to start off with is. Then I need the next most important thing, which is teacher. So I'm going to say múinteoir. And then I'm going to finish off with the least important part of it. I'm then going to add on the person for me. Let's go for you are a. Now all you have to do is just look. You don't need to take anything down because this is in the notes in a second. I just want to teach this to you first. So I want to say you are a. Doesn't make a difference. I'm still going to start off with is. So what about if you are a teacher? Is múinteoir. And I'm then going to say to. So the copula comes first. The characteristic comes second. And then add in the person in third place. 1, 2, 3. And there is no grammar whatsoever. Evan has a deadly question, by the way. Evan, I'm just after seeing this. Why is it Michal ismat lum and not ismat me? Brilliant question. I was actually wondering, would you cop onto this? Does anyone know what lum means? It's made up of two words. It's made up of the word le and me. And as Evan said, you mash the two together and we don't say le me, we say lum. We push this together, L-I-O-M, and the M refers to me. Lum, I can hear the M. So lum is made up of two words, le and me. Mash it together, lum. But does anyone know what lum means, or le and me? Have a think about it. Perfect. So lum means with me, as Phoebe said, which is deadly. Did you know when you say ismat lum, what you're technically saying, Evan, is it's good with me? Ismat lum, it's good with me. That's kind of why we use the lum part in it. So we say, is it good with you? Yeah, it's good with me. Is it good with you? Yeah, it's good with me. So it's good with him, it's good with her, it's good with she. Now we know ismat lum means I like. That's the way we translate it. You were told this in primary school. Ismat lum means I like, and it does. But Evans just copped on and was like, well, hang on a second then. Why is it not ismat me? Because what we actually say in Irish is it's good with me in Irish, which is, I think, is deadly. I love it. So that's why we put in the with me. Ismat lum, ismat lat. It's good with you. Ismat lesh. It's grand with him. Ismat lehi. It's good with her. Music. Ismat lehi music. Ismat lehi kiol. Music is good with her. She likes music. So it's just a way of saying that you like something in Irish. Well spotted. Now, let's have a look at this part. We're going to go for he or she is a. We're still going to go for is, and we're still going to put in the next important part about this. Is múinteoir, and we're not going to go for she. Have a look at this. We are going to go for a. We're going to drop the S. He is a teacher. And again, if I want to say she is a teacher, I'm not going to keep the S. I'm going to drop the letter S. Is múinteoir, e. She is a teacher. So drop the S for she and she. Perfect. Now, we are, right? So we're going to go for we are a. We've got two options. We can say is múinteoirí muid or is múinteoirí sin. Now you don't need to take this down. Just have a look. We'll go through this in the book in a second. So you can say is múinteoirí muid, is múinteoirí sin. I think we can go for the word shin, S-I-N-N. I'd like us to go for that one. But if you want to put in muid, you can. It's up to you. But I think shin might be a better one to go for. Now I want to say you, plural, are teachers. I'm still going to start off with is. I'm going to put in is múinteoirí. And then I'm going to go for shiv for you, plural. Is múinteoirí shiv. Ye are teachers. If I want to say they are teachers, is múinteoirí. Now have a look at this. Not shiad. I'm going to drop the S. Is múinteoirí iad. And I drop the letter S. And then if I want to say it is a, for example, it is a book, is leabhar é. Not she. it's going to be is lower a. I'm going to drop the S. So when you want to say I am a, you are a, he is a, we are a, she is a, you plural are a, they are a, it is a, you need to use this thing called the copula. It's just the word is. And that is going to be the most important part. That's the first thing we need to do. The second thing we want to put in the second piece of information, which is give me something interesting about them. Their nationality, their occupation, a character. So we put in an munchor. And then finish off by popping in who the person is. Me, tu, or she. So it's a 3-part structure. And there's no grammar. Now, wait until you see the next part, right? That's it. So, quick question. We know verbs are about actions. Walk, talk, eat, sleep, and we can put them into any tense. We can put it into the Mócnílach now that you know your Mócnílach and your past tense and your future tense. Beautiful. And all we have to do is just add on a person. They're verbs. They're all about the actions. But then we've got this lovely thing, this beaut of a thing in Irish called the copula. What happens if you just want to be? You just want to exist. Just want to be Irish. Just want to be English. Just want to be Scottish. Just want to be German. Want to be Ukrainian, Russian, German, Spanish, Chinese, Australian. What if you just want to talk about your nationality? Or what about your occupation? What about if your occupation is 99% of your personality? It's mucho me. I am a teacher. What if you want to talk about a characteristic about yourself? I am a soccer player. I am a rugby player. I am a taxi driver. I am a man. I am a girl. Characteristic, just use your copula. You've actually been using your copula all along in Irish. You've been using this word is. The trick with this is knowing when to use it. Not the grammar. It's grammar free. No H's, no I's, no R's, no dentals, nothing. But the trick is knowing when to use it. But the easiest way, when you want to use the word a in English, that's a big indicator that you need to use this thing called the copula. For example, it is a concert. It is a lovely day. It is a book. It is a bookcase. When you want to say a, it is a, or I am a, or you are a, that's a massive indicator that you should be using your copula and not your verb. And that's why we do not say ta, sorry, that was a bit dramatic there. We do not say ta me munchor, because this means I am teacher. Ta me munchor, I am teacher. Ta me fermior, I am farmer. So that's why we don't say ta me. That's why we say is munchor and me, because that means I am a. That's the trick with it. So, quick question. Yes or no? Do you feel a bit more comfortable knowing when to spot a copula? It's the word is. Do you feel comfortable knowing now when you use the copula? Do you feel more comfortable knowing that verbs are actions? They do an action that I can see in my head. I mean, if I said to you, he slept and she stood up and he walked out, you can see the image, can't you? But the copula is a little bit different. Copula is just like, it's just an existence. I am a teacher. It's very hard to kind of think of that, isn't it? If you want to say, I am an Irish person, it's very hard to think of that. Like, what's the image? That's why the difference between a verb is an action and this thing called the copula. So how are we feeling with this? Okay so far? Because that's the hardest part. After this, we have absolutely no grammar whatsoever. So you can let me know in the chat function if we're good with this. So let's go back and have a look at your notes. We use the copula to express an identity, an equality, a characteristic, a national kind of nationality, but you've been using your copula the whole time in Irish. Is misha sardacha, is misha mihal, is matlam kakamilish, is fulam mata. You have been using it. So let's have a look at the word, the copula. Deadly. Matthew, how are you getting on? You well? Brilliant. We're good with this. Now, that's the hard part done. This is the easy part of the class. So the copula is the word is. All the way over. And then I'm put in something that's interesting, their nationality, their characteristic. Then I put that in second position here. And then all I have to do is then just put in the person for may, to, a, e. Now remember, not she. That S is gone. That S is gone. And then when we get down to the plurals, we use shin for we. We use shiv. There's that lovely V sound again, like vosotros in Spanish and vous in French. We have that V sound. So we've got that shiv for you plural. And then we have in the word she'd. Now, not she'd with the S, but e'd without the S. And that's our copula. Now, let's ask a question. Things are going to get really, really, really simple. So far we're good with this. Mihal, yeah, makes sense, good, grand, yeah, yep, fair enough, all good, deadly. So, let's ask a question. If I want to say, are you a teacher? Are you a principal? Are you a good student? Are you a deadly student? All I'm going to do in Irish is I'm going to use the word on. That's my question. Right? So if I want to say, are you a teacher? I'm going to say on, and then going to go for a moonshore, and then I'm going to put in the word to. On, moonshore, to. No grammar. No H's, no I's, no R's, no dentals. Just put in the word on. No grammar is needed. So if you want to ask, is she a teacher? Start off with on. Put in the moonshore. And then finish off with E, not she. Just the word E. On moonshore, E. And that means, is she a teacher? And again, if I want to say, are you a doctor? Are you a farmer? Are you an English person? Are you just on? Gets even simpler. If I want to say, he is not a, she is not a, I am not a, you are not a, it's just the word ni. No grammar needed. No H's, no I's, no R's, no dentals, nothing. So look at this. If I want to say, I am not a, I am not a, that's 4 words for you in English. It's just the word ni for us in Irish. Ni, moonshore, and then just put in the word me. Now be very, very careful. It's ni, N-I fada, not Neil. That's really, really, really important. So can you highlight that in your notes? It's just the word ni. Ni, moonshore, me. I'm not a teacher. Is fermor me. I'm a farmer. So very, very simple. And I'm going to bring you back to the screen. If I want to ask a question, are you a? Is he a? Are they a? Are we a? Or is it a? Any of those? On. Is it a good book? On. Lower ma a. Is it a good class? On. Wrong ma a. That's it. If you want to ask a question in the copula, on. Is he a teacher? On moonshore a. Is your one a doctor? On doctor e. And no grammar. And then if you want to say, he's not a teacher, just use ni. She's not a doctor, just use ni. Ni doctor e. That's it. So let's have a quick look at this. If I want to ask a question, is he a? I just say on. For example, is he a teacher? I'm going to say on moonshore a. That's my question. No grammar. Nothing. So that's my first question. Now I want you to tell me in the chat function, he is a teacher. Now, I know the word múnchor in A is going to be there, but what word do we want to say for he is a? Now you know how to say he is a in Irish. He is a. That's 4 words for you in English. In the chat function, tell me what we use for that instead. So I want to say he is a teacher. So can you tell me what's the word now that I will say for he is a? What's my copula? Into the chat function. So I got my word múnchor and I got my word a. I want to say he is a teacher. So can you tell me what's that word in Irish? Penny. Brilliant. Ítach moihu. Os a charja. Fin. Ítach. Julia, how are you getting on? Os ítach moishiv. So if I want to say he is a, Alex. Ítach. I just say is. Is múnchor a. Susa. Evan. Matthew. Excellent. Spot on. Now here's the thing, right? That's saying he is a. But now I want to give the negative. Now I want to say he is not a teacher. Now can you tell me, what are we going to use here? Now what word am I going to use for he is not a? It's only got 2 letters. 4 words for you in English. Not even a word for us now, it's just literally 2 letters. That's all I'm going to do. Not, it's not the 3-letter one, it's just the 2. So I want to say he is not a teacher. What's our Irish now for he is not a? Because this comes up so often in the exams. It actually came up in some of the mocks a couple of weeks ago, which is why we want to kind of improve your quality of Irish. Excellent. Deadly. 100%. Isn't it? Deadly. And I love how none of you are using grammar because we don't need any grammar whatsoever. Ni múnchor a. So hold on for a second. Is he a? It's just the word on. You want to say he is a. It's is. And then he is not a. It's just the word ni. So these are straight up swaps. All I have to do is take out the word on, pop in the word is, and I've made it positive. All I have to do is take out the word is, pop in the word ni, and I've made it negative. So in Irish, we have straight up swaps, and it's also got no grammar. And again, anything that's lovely and simple and structured in Irish always gets a little love heart, a little crí in Irish. So that's your copula. That is it, done and dusted. No exceptions, no ifs, no buts, nothing. The copula, it's just about existing. It's just about a state of being. If you want to say I am a, and then you put in a nationality, an occupation, or a characteristic about yourself. I am a bus driver. But we're still using that word a. If you want to say it is a lovely day, Michal, it is a lovely night, it is an amazing night, you're still saying it is a, so we need to use this existence, this thing called a copula. If you want to ask a question, start off with on, no grammar. If you want to make it negative, take out on, pop in the word ni, no grammar needed. If you want to make it positive, so you can mix on, is, and ni. You can swap. They're straight up swaps, and the structure never ever changes. Now, Michaela had a great question a couple of seconds ago. Michaela spotted something, and she was like, what's the crack with who, THU fada? So up here, I said it's múnchor tu. This one here. It's a little bit tricky to pronounce, isn't it? You are a bus driver, you are a teacher, you are a great student, you are a deadly student. So sometimes that tu here can be quite difficult to pronounce. So what do we do in Irish? We make life easy on ourselves, and we realised if I just add in a little h, it becomes much easier to pronounce. It's múnchor hu, and I don't need to pronounce the t, and it rolls off the tongue an awful lot easier. So in Irish they were like, do you know what? Another H, that's what we'll do. We'll add another H in here and it makes it easier, and it does. Try say it at home. Is múnchor tu. Very choppy. Is múnchor tu. Pop a wee little H in it. Is múnchor hu, and it rolls off the tongue way easier. So that's all. That's the difference. I love it. So Irish is like, do you know what this language needs? More H's. So smoochor who. Alex, we have about 15 or so left. That's all. Just about 15 more. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to practice a little bit of this. That's it. So let's go for the first couple in our book, right? We want to go for we are singers. It's a qualification, it's a quality about the person. We are, and they're telling you about who they are. They're singers. She is a singer. I am a singer. So what we have here is we have the word for singers in the plural is auranaha. And then we have singer is aurani. So we're going to do 1, we're going to go for 2, and we're going to go for 3. That's all we're going to do for first, right? So use your notes. We're talking about they are singers. We're not talking about actions. We're talking about who they are. We're talking about kind of what their makeup is, what their personality is, their nationalities and their occupations and their characteristics. It's not an action. It's just a state of existence, a state of being. So can you tell me what the Irish is then in this? Just write it down in your books and we'll correct it in a couple of seconds. We are singers. She is a singer. And I'm a singer. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds because there's no grammar, no H's, no I's, no R's. Like I told you, there was no grammar in tonight's class. How nice. Zusa, are you able to use both to and who? 100%. And Zusa, you can pick whichever one you want. I have a funny feeling when you start speaking Irish, and you will, when you do start to speak a little bit of Irish and kind of start getting real confident, when you go from like into 5th year or 4th year and 6th year when you have to start doing the orals, I think you're going to go for who, THU fada, because you'll be just like, it's way easier to pronounce. But you can use whichever one you want. You can use both. It's up to you. It's your language. You can decide which one you want to use. Right, let's have a look at this. We are singers. Well, I'm just going to use is. So I'm going to go for is. That's the main important thing. That's the copula. Then the second thing is, I want you to tell me a little bit about them, their characteristic, their nationality. What are we talking about? Their existence. Is, au, ron, aha. So is, au, ron, aha. Now we want for we is number 3. So we want the person. 100%. No, you're right. Don't be worried about the spelling. We're 100% spot on with that. And it's shin. Is, au, ron, aha, shin. That's it. No grammar. Now, she is a singer. We're still going to use is. But we're going to go for singer. So I just use au, rani. So that's a singer. And then you've got the plural. But I want to say is au, rani. She is a singer. Folks, can I ask you, how is my Irish? Do you love my Irish? Are you loving it? Is au, rani, she. How do you feel about it? How does it make you feel? Are you loving it? Or are you hating it? What's my quality of Irish like? Are we happy with my answer? No, 100%. Yous aren't. Are you shocked? Are you appalled? Hope yous are. Because we do not have that letter S. Remember that? That S has to go. So we do not need that S. Is aurani E. 100%. Well done. Is aurani E. Remember for she and for she and for she'd. We do not need anything. Well spotted, folks. Deadly. Now I want to say I am a singer, which is great. I'm just going to go for is, aurani, and then all I need to do is put in the word may. Perfect. Let's go for a couple more, right? Just so you know I'm not lying to you. Let's go for he is a driver. Tamani. Let's go for they are drivers, that should be, which is Tamanahe. And let's go for thieves, Gadahe. Let's go for 4, 5, and 6. They are drivers. He is a driver. You are thieves. You plural are thieves. It's not an action. It's just a state of being. It's a state of existence. It's a characteristic. Occupations, nationalities. You're just being a thief. Now, Barbara, what about I and the I being 2 vowels? Makes no difference. Barbara, how are you doing? Actually, by the way, no difference whatsoever. We don't need any grammar. We don't need to change anything at all. And this is what makes this thing called a copula amazing. Because we're all busy doing verbs in school, aren't we? Verbs, verbs, verbs. I even did Mo Kneelock with you last week. So I decided you need a little bit of downtime. You've done loads last week and the week before, loads of different endings. So the copula was just about kind of just having a nice, easy class with absolutely no grammar whatsoever. So if I want to say he is a driver, I'm still going to say is. I'm going to put in the second important thing about him, and that's a driver. Is Tumani. Now, can I ask you, how is my Irish? Do you love my Irish? Is my Irish amazing? Do you think my Irish is deadly? Would I get a distinction if I said is Tumani Shay? How does that make you feel? Are you upset? Are you annoyed? Is that offensive? Does that hurt your eyes when you see it? Hopefully it does, because we do not need the S. What we need to do is get rid of that S. Straight in there. Brilliant, 100%. You're not loving my Irish. Not loving it, no? Okay, but you're 100% right. Excellent, spot on, deadly, love it. Is Tumani a, he is a driver. What about they are drivers? We're going to go for this one. So is, now we need drivers in the plural. So is Tumánaithe. Now I want to say they. There's my sheed. Absolutely not. Not on my watch. That S has to go. They are drivers. Is Tumánaithe iad. And as Barbara said, what do you do if you've got kind of two vowels coming together, Micheál? You've got the E in Tumánaithe and the I in iad. Should you not do something Irish? Should you not throw on a wee little Uru, a shevu? Is there a rule? Absolutely nothing. Copula has no rules whatsoever. And then finally, the last part, you plural are thieves. So I'm going to go for is, and then I need the word thieves. Is gadaithe, and then shiv. And that's my you plural with that lovely V sound, like you have in French and like you have in Spanish. Now, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We just have a few more to do, right? I want to get on to a little bit more of the questions. Oh, sorry, just in case you didn't. Are we good with that? Just is. I'm going to go on to some of the negatives, and I want to go on to some of the questions. Don't change anything. Lock in the phrase. Is, it's a straight up swap with on, and it's a straight up swap with ni. Just take out the is, pop in the question. Take out the question, pop in ni, N-I fada. Do not pop the L in this, N-I fada. On, is, and ni. They're all straight up swaps. So let's have a go at a little bit more of these ones here. So I want to go for this one. She is a poet. He is a poet. He is not a great poet. They are not great poets. Let's go for them first. So I've got a mixture. 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now be careful. She is a. He is a. But in 13, he is not a. 14, they are not great poets. So go for them. And again, I'll put you on the clock for about 30 seconds. Use your notes. Okay. You've got Phila for poet, Philama, a good poet or a great poet, and Philimaha, great poets. So keep it in the brackets. Right, let's go for the first one. She is a poet. Is fille E. No S. Got that? Any questions, any problems, just into the chat function. Number 2, or number 12. He is a poet. Lovely and simple. I'm still going to say is, fille, and A. No S. We don't need it. Now, he is not a great poet. Super simple. Irish grammar, really logical, really structured. We love it. French and Spanish and German could never. Imagine French and Spanish and German not having a grammar rule. When has that ever happened? Happens all the time in Irish. Now, he is not a great poet. I'm going to go for ni. I'm going to go for Philema. That's his characteristic. That's him. That's his being. That's just who he is. He's just not a great poet. But I still want to go for the A. No S at the end of it. So instead of saying he's not a poet, he's not a great poet, he's not a good poet, just keep it as it is. That's his characteristic. Not a great poet. What about 14? They are not... Oh, sorry. He is not. Yeah. Now, they are not great poets. Again, I'm still going to go for ni. Now I'm going to go for poets. Philly. Maha. That stays the same. So Philly, Maha, and then Iad. No S. That's just who they are. That's just their existence. That's just their being. They're just not great poets. Ni, Philly Maha, and then Iad in this one. Evan, great question. Mihal, would it matter if you said is munchor who instead of is munchor tu? Absolutely not. You can pick whichever one you want, Evan. And again, you can go for is munchor tu or is munchor who, or you can, same with what we said with Susa earlier on. You can pick whichever one you want, but I have a sneaking suspicion that when it comes to us actually speaking Irish, I think you're all going to go for the who, THU fada, because it's way easier to sound it out in Irish. That's why we added in the wee little H there. But great question. Right, let's have a look at the next one. They are good football. Let's go for 16. Are they good footballers? Are you a doctor? And are you a nurse? Just go for 16, 18, and 19 with this one and see how you get on. Now we're asking a question, but it doesn't make a difference in Irish. Now, oh, sorry, Peladori Maha. It's just the same as that. And a doctor and a nurse is the word ultra, just in case. So are they, we want to ask the question, good footballers? 18. I want to ask you, are you a doctor? And you can use whichever one you want. Evan, Susa, and the rest of you. It's your language. You decide what one you want to use. And 19, are you a nurse? And again, you can decide which one you want to use. To or who. It's up to you. So after all the crack, the Mocha Nílach, which you found very doable and great, we decided to just give you no grammar for tonight's class. Right, are we ready for 16? Are they good footballers? I want to ask a question. So I'm going to go for on. And good footballers, that's their characteristic. It's their occupation. It's kind of who they are. Good footballers. That's their quality. So it's not an action verb, is it? It's not like walks, talks, eats, sleeps. It's not something you can visually kind of see in your head. It's just kind of a state of being. So are they good footballers? But I'm going to go for on Peladori Maha. Oh, I didn't realize that much space left. Sorry, I'll make that a little bit better for you. So on Peladori Maha. Now I want to say are they. It technically should be siad, S-I-A-D, but we don't use the S. On Peladori, Moihe, Iad. Are they good footballers? 18. Are you a doctor? Good news in Irish. I'm still just going to use my on. I'm going to pop in the word doctor because that's the characteristic, that's the occupation. And it's also the word a. On doctor. Now here's the choice. You can decide whichever one you want. You can be like, Michal, I'm going to go for 2. Or you might be like, Michal, do you know what? I think it's actually a little bit easier when I do come to speak Irish. It'll be easier to say who instead of to. On doctor 2. See the way it's kind of t. Or you can just say on doctor who. I have a funny feeling you're all going to go for the second one. But it's your language. No one else's. Not mine, not your teachers, it's not your parents, it's not your brothers and sisters, it's your language. So you can pick whichever one you want. Finally, number 19 then. Are you a nurse? It's the word ultra. So I'm going to go for on ultra 2 or on ultra who. And that is us. That is your copula done and dusted. The main thing about the copula, it's got absolutely no grammar, which is lovely. We love that. But the main thing is knowing when to use it. That's it. Once you can kind of click into and be like, yeah, nationalities I get and occupations I get and kind of characteristics I get, then you're grand. But the trick is the letter A. That's going to be a massive indicator. When you say it's a great book, Michal, that's your copula. It's an amazing concert. That's your copula. It's a deadly game. That's your copula. So the trick is being able to spot when to use it. But that letter A in English, that A or an, that's your big indicator. You need to switch and use a copula because we're not talking about an action, we're talking about an existence. It's a good book. It's very hard to kind of picture a good book, the action. You can't. So we use a copula in Irish. Now, that brings us kind of to the end. So we did a couple of things in tonight's class. We did, number 1, we looked at 2 different parts of the Mochanílachs. We looked at group 2 broad, and group 2 slender. And we matched them up. She, and shiv were lovely. And then we used the M for the muid, and we used the letter D for the day, siad. And then we just need to learn the I would and you would, which was really, really simple as well. And you loved that last week and the week before. You're like, yeah, makes sense. Definitely 6th years have an awful lot of emotion over something that's quite simple and quite basic, I think. But she's got on really, really well last week. Brilliant, amazing work. Then we moved on to this thing called the copula, which is super, super easy because there's no grammar. You can now differentiate between what a verb is, it's an action, and then sometimes an action doesn't suffice. Sometimes we need to just talk about your being, your existence. So we use this thing called is. When you want to use I am a, he is a, it is a, that letter a is telling you to use your copula. We also went through questions in the copula and negatives in the copula, super simple. These are all straight up swaps. On, is, and ni. Take one out, replace it with the other. Take one out, replace it with the other. Take one out, replace it with the other. No grammar, no H's, no R's, no I's, no hyphens, no dentals, nothing. An entire class where we didn't really have to do anything. When you think about it, we just had to kind of understand when to use it. So can I ask you a quick question? How do you feel about this word is? We see it everywhere in Irish, don't we? We open up the books and we see this word is. We open up a book and we see the word is. Is motlum, is animdum, is misha, is munchorme, is bukel. Can I ask you now, good? You might be like, nah, that's a totally fair and valid sentiment to have when we're doing grammar. Or bad? How do you feel about it? Good? Deadly. That's all we need to do. Even if you're like, that's it. Remember when I told you when we did the Mochanílach, we're at the height of it, there was nothing else after the Mochanílach? I wasn't lying. Brilliant. Deadly. So, and a thumbs up as well. Love a wee little thumbs up. Excellent. So I think that's pretty much us then with the copula. Now, next week what I want to do with you is, we'll do a little bit more on the copula, right? We'll do a tiny little bit more. No grammar needed, by the way. You'll love it. And then I want to start looking at the prepositions in Irish for next week and then the week after. We've kind of got like about a class left next week. So I want to talk about like when to use prepositions. Egg, egg on, egg na, agum, agot and ge, or lesh on, lesh na, lum lat, leshly. I want to talk about them next week. So when we come back to class next week, we're going to do a little bit of games on the reinforcement of this thing called the copula, and then I want to talk about the lum, lat, leshes, and lesh, leshon, and leshnas, because they can be a little bit tricky if they're not taught properly. That's the thing. And I want to show you this out of this. 6 or 7 out of a 10, I'll take that. That is brilliant. Anything with a 6 or a 7 when it comes to grammar, we are taking it. That's a win-win situation for us. I'm delighted with that, folks. Absolutely deadly. So I'll tell you what, that's us for the end of tonight. Come back to me. Oh, Michaela, before you go, you need the notes from last week. If anyone needs the notes from last week, they are in the book. I'm going to give you the 2 of them. All right. So here is the notes from last week, or 2 weeks ago. And then the notes from last week itself, I'll put that in for you now. Junior cert, leaving cert, in junior cycle, junior cycle, junior cycle, junior cycle. That's it, actually, I think. Let me have a quick look at that. Oh, perfect. It's all in the one booklet. Deadly. Folks, if you weren't here last week, it's all in the booklet. It's the one. So the 2 weeks, the Mochnilock Group 1 and Group 2 are all in one booklet, and that's it, that you have it there. All right. I tell you what, folks, come back to me next week again, and we are going to heal the world with all of these lums and leshes and leshons and leshnas as well, and you'll be flying with it. Folks, absolutely stellar work with the Mochnilock and stellar work with the copula. Skip third year, straight into 6th year, which is all, folks. Have an absolutely fantastic week. Have an even better weekend, because you deserve it. Come back to me. Happy Shocked in a Gaelga as well, folks. Completely forgot. Bad Irish speaker. Tabron. Shocked in a Gaelga. Have an amazing Shocked in a Gaelga. Hope you're doing lots of lovely stuff in school as well. Let me know what you're doing next week as well, and come back to me then next Tuesday, and we'll do it all over again. I heard you. Have a fantastic weekend, because you deserve it. I heard you. Go to Mila Moigov, Hawaii, August Slánanish.